cantor is a partner to a rabbi in Jewish prayer. The cantor is really responsible for all of the liturgy and all of the chanting of sacred text. Nothing happens without music. Every baby is named, every person is buried, every wedding happens within the context of music. Music is so fundamental to all of the aspects that there are specific modes for time of day, for day of the week, for whether it's this kind of holiday or that kind of holiday. When I was in seminary, one of our teachers would always say, you should be able to tell. Like if you were in a pit and you couldn't see out and you didn't have a calendar, but you were next door to a synagogue, you should be able to tell what day of the week it is, what time of year it is, whether it's morning or evening, by the modes that are used. So a mode is really a scale. It is not a key signature in the way that we think of key signatures in Western music, which is one of the things that it took me a long time in seminary to really be able to hear. And in fact, in Jewish modes, the scale can go one way in the first octave and a different way in the second octave. So it's the na da 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 dum. So what this is in is called an ark, based on the the big box that the Ten Commandments were in when that traveled. Exactly. The Torahs are dressed like the priests, and specifically dressed like the high priest. So they have a breastplate. They have this one in particular has the 12 tribes, which is like the breastplate that had the 12 stones. A well-trained cantor is like a jazz musician. You know what mode you're in, and you have some fun. And if you know what you're saying, then you know which words to lean on and what to emphasize and whatever, and then you get back to that cadence at the end so that everybody knows where you are. Some of them I think are just tradition. This is just what it sounds like. Now, if it's a weekday morning prayer, you don't get fancy because people have a responsibility to get their morning prayers done and get on with their day. So it's da 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 bum 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 and be done. You know, whereas the Shabbat modes, not only are they a little more interesting, but there's sort of more of a range in the scale. So that you can play around and make it prettier up here, because where are you going? It's the Sabbath, we take our time, and then we're going to have a nice meal after. So it's almost more how you use the modes that is determined by what the liturgy is. This right here is the priestly blessing. May God bless you and keep you. May God raise his face to you and be gracious to you. May God lift up his face to you and make for you peace. My experience of Jewishness is much more as a way of life. So I think always approaching it from, oh, what do you do on Hanukkah? As opposed to what do you believe about? Is a fabulous approach. The other thing, and I never had this experience, the 20 years I was in LA before I came here, 2.5 years here in Utah. And the back row is always visitors, usually from BYU. And they're always here on time. Jews are never here on time. There's always a holding back. I don't want to participate because that might be disrespectful. Or maybe there's I don't want to do each of those things because maybe that's a leaving of my faith and joining this faith. So actually, I always say at about 10 minutes into the service, it takes over a year of intensive study to become Jewish, so nothing you do this morning is a commitment to anything. There's none of them. Now, the Torah scroll is just the first 5 books of Moses. We're humans attempting to touch the divine, and let's be in this together. And I'm going to do it in a way that might be unfamiliar, but play along, have some fun. That's my feeling. And ask questions.